Hey guys, Shot Midget here doing a review and shooting test on a custom G&G metal body M4. Now this is the GC Intermediate. As you can see there, this is the metal body version. I think it retails for about $340. I think is what the guy bought it for. He's our designated chrono guy at Assault Airsoft, so he's, you know, a designated chrono person, and he bought this from the field. As far as the difference between the plastic body and the metal body, I'll go ahead and mention those right now. Internally, the metal body one comes with a 25K neo-magnet motor, okay, which is a good motor. They retail for $60. I would never pay $60 for an aftermarket motor, but they come stock. And if you get this gun and it's stock, fantastic motor. The 18Ks are kind of garbage. They're not awful, but I would never use them in any gun of mine. Let's just say that. But these neo-magnet ones are good. Now, this G&G 18K might make a good base for, like, if you drop neo-magnets inside of the can, you know, and then you could get some good torque out of it. But stock, their magnets just are not good. These are. Also, these come with bearings, 8mm bearings in here instead of the copper bushings. Finally, they're starting to do that. This still comes with a plastic piston. That's something that G&G has not done yet on their, you know, what, $340 gun. Amoebas are $260 and they come with metal rack pistons. Now, Crytacs are $300 something and they don't. Their pistons have 4 steel teeth, which is 3 more than this one. This has the standard basic G&G piston with the 1 release tooth. So G&G is kind of lagging behind as far as the pistons. What else? Like I said, the bearings. Oh, also the cylinder is brass instead of the blue aluminum. The barrel is brass instead of the aluminum. Has a ball bearing spring guide, which is a good plus. The gears look the same, so I don't recognize anything different. And it's got the MOSFET, but the plastic ones have the MOSFETs too. Okay, so let's just start from the front, actually. So he's got a Gemtech suppressor on here. The barrel stops like right here, the inner, where the outer barrel stops. He's got the G&G flip-up sights. He's got a PEC box light and a green laser, which is not too bright. You can't see the stream. Cannot see the stream, but it's still visible. A key mod rail system, 12 inches, monolithic upper rail. He's got a holographic. This is an ACOG, a 4x zoom, green, green, red, and blue. I used to have one of these. I have it on my AUG, but I'm selling my AUG, so it's a nice sight. He's got a sight protector. Pretty much it. Comes with an ambi sling mount. Comes with an ambi selector switch, which the plastic bodies do not come with, but the ambi selector switch is trash. Every single time I've opened one of these guns, I've done 4 now, and every single time I do one, the selector switch doesn't want to go back together properly. Now, this side, this is the standard side, clicks into place fine, 100%. But the other side lags behind, like a lot of scars. When you go to select it and you put it all the way up, this side won't be all the way up. And as I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I hate that. So I just took it completely off. It's not even worth it unless you're a lefty. And then obviously the G&G metal body with the ambi mag catch, which I do admit the ambi mag catch is a nice feature, even if you're a righty, because you can go down here and grab it and strip it if you wanna, and if you can't drop your mags. I did shorten the trigger pull. This is the G&G MOSFET that has a click. G&G did update their MOSFETs. The micro switch, it actually clicks, which I do like, so you know when you're firing. But the button is still way back. You have to pull the trigger all the way back for it to fire. But, you know, when you shorten it, that's a way to fix that. Okay, obviously G&G still got their MOSFET inside the buffer tube, and it's huge as ever. You've got the Tamiya, you've got the fuse. I really wish G&G would do this. Basically make the MOSFET board be right in here, like right here. So that the only thing that's sticking out of the end of the buffer tube is the fuse here and the Tamiya connector. That's it. So you don't have all of this, okay? And they could do that because there's bullet connectors, or they're more like motor tabs inside the buffer tube right here. So basically, when you unscrew the buffer tube screw and you pull the screw out, there's no washer, not really washer, spacer that you have to pull out. So it's not like the spacer has to get by the MOSFET. It's just the screw. And if you unscrew the screw, it'll dump right out. The MOSFET's not in the way at all, even if it was down into here. Okay? So it would just fall out, and then you could pull the buffer tube off, and then you would see the bullet connectors, and you could just unplug them. That's all you'd have to do. And then you could pull the MOSFET all the way out if you wanted to, or just, you know, I've taken these apart before, obviously, because I upgraded this one, and sometimes I'll leave the buffer tube on the gun and literally just have the gearbox like sitting there with the lower still there, but the wires going through the receiver. You techs will know what I'm talking about. Sometimes that's just easier. He has an 11.1 1000 milliamp. I told him he needs to get a second one. There's absolutely no way this one's gonna last him all day. But he told me, well, I don't play all day anyways. Well, I think he's going to the all day op. You're gonna need 2 batteries for that all day op. So, and the way this battery fits in here is you put the 3, 1 in each tube, and actually it's easier to put 2 into 1. If it fits. I don't know that I've tested this yet. Let's see. First time testing. Doesn't look like both of them are going to fit in there. Okay, so 1 in each tube. The G&G crane stock tube is not big enough for 2 of the cells. Okay, so basically once you get that down in there, you kind of have to stuff the MOSFET into the buffer tube a little bit, just slightly. Just like that. And then you can connect the battery. And then you pull the stock out. And the lowest position you can put the stock in that I've seen is the 3rd position, because of the MOSFET in the buffer tube. Now, G&G is supposed to be making a one that's smaller. It's not going to make much of a difference, honestly. But the stock, I love the stock. You have the storage compartment, too. Oh, and there's batteries in there. Hey, good look. They actually made that storage compartment useful. Okay, so internals that I upgraded, it has SHS 12-to-1 gears, no sector chip, believe it or not. They're shimmed nicely, greased very nicely. It has a Cyma metal rack piston, which I've never used, so it's nice to try it in here, and it seems to be a good piston, with the Cyma piston head that came with it, and a Sorpa pad. Okay, so it's AOE corrected. It's a little bit quieter. It's obviously got the suppressor, so it's a little quieter gun than some. And then the G&G high torque motor and an 11.1. So let's go ahead and shoot it. Mag .2s. It shoots 350 with a .2. I forgot to mention, I cut the spring in here because it shot 415. This gun shot 415 FPS. So I cut the spring and put it back in, and it shoots the same FPS. I cut 4 coils off of this thing, and it still shoots the same FPS. So what I ended up doing is actually drilling a hole in the nozzle, okay? So when the nozzle's facing either this way, the hole is facing this way, or this way, it shoots 350 FPS. If you turn it towards the hop up, where the BBs feed, air will actually shoot down into the hop up, and then it shoots 250 FPS. So he'll never want to turn the nozzle down and shoot 250. There's no reason to do that. So if you just turn the nozzle, and I've shot lots of mags through this, and not a single time does the nozzle rotate and face straight down and shoot at 250, because it doesn't seem to move. Nozzles they're not supposed to rotate. They go back and forth. So I hope that makes sense. So, as far as trigger response, it's really, really good, but the only way that you can get it going is by spamming it. So, it's harder to get it going like this. I mean, you can get it going, but you kind of have to take your hand off your grip a little bit and kind of bump fire it. Okay, so the mag's empty. So as you can see, trigger response is actually pretty dang good, if you ask me. I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, let's try some full auto. Okay, so that's 30 rounds a second. And it feeds 100% without a sector chip. That's actually pretty dang good. And I'll feel the MOSFET in the battery to see if it's heated up. I'm going to go ahead and finish this mag off and then feel the battery and the MOSFET and see if it warms up. Alright, so we're out of ammo. Let's go ahead and feel the MOSFET and see if it's warm in the battery. To me, connector's warm, fuse is warm, and the MOSFET is warm, and the battery is warm. So everything heats up. That's why I don't like these MOSFETs at all. But the battery's just warm. It's not hot, but these are too hot. The MOSFET, that's not good. So and as far as resistance, there's no weird resistance. Everything in this thing is drenched in lubricant. The shimming is very, very good, as you guys can hear. Otherwise, it wouldn't shoot that fast and wouldn't even sound very good. And the motor is pretty power efficient. It's honestly all in the frickin' MOSFET. It's just, it heats up and it's still warm. So, that's why I didn't get one of these guns. I got an Amoeba instead. Sadly, I bought one of these MOSFETs and it blew up on me right away. So, as far as a MOSFET, I'd say it's lower end, on the lower end spectrum of MOSFETs. The Crytacs and the Amoebas are more reliable. And the Amoebas are just as responsive. You know what I mean? Just as good on semi. The Crytacs aren't micro switches, so technically those aren't as good. But their MOSFETs and the Amoebas are not known as much to inexplicably fry. So I do prefer Amoebas, but I mean, as you can see, the performance on that thing is insane. So if it you know is a tank and doesn't break, then I have nothing to complain about. But I don't like the heat. I do not like that heat because heat with electronics is not good. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. But again, 350 FPS with a .2, shoots probably 180 feet, and stock hop-up setup, and 30 rounds a second, which is pretty dang good. So you can keep people's heads down while not wasting ammo. 30 rounds a second is a good rate of fire to have, just as an average. You can keep people's heads down, light people up if they're cheating, and also get satisfaction out of 30, because 30 is fast for an AEG, at least. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys.